Calm, reflective tone. He brought in your trash bins. He waved every morning. He baked cookies for the neighborhood kids and mowed the lawn of the elderly widow next door. Everyone trusted him. Everyone liked him. But behind his closed doors was a room no one ever saw. And inside that secret room was a darkness no one imagined. Today on True Crime Hub, we're diving into one of the most chilling cases of deception and hidden evil. The case of Leonard Harris, the friendly neighbor with a secret that would shock an entire community. Stick with us as we peel back the layers of a man who wore the perfect mask. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell so you never miss a story that reveals the darkest corners of the human psyche. Leonard Harris moved to Willow Creek, Oregon, in 2008. A 42-year-old single man, he bought a modest two-story home in a quiet cul-de-sac. From day one, he made an impression. He offered to repaint his elderly neighbor's fence, fixed bikes for the kids, and hosted barbecues in his backyard. He was a former school teacher, retired early, and claimed he now wrote mystery novels. No one saw him work. No one questioned his story. He joined local committees, volunteered at the town's food bank, and donated to shelters. Leonard sponsored a Little League team and paid for new uniforms anonymously. Kids adored him. Parents praised him. The mayor even gave him a Volunteer Appreciation Award in 2013. Neighbors described him as gentle, generous, and always smiling. He volunteered at the local animal shelter, read to kids at the library, and even helped organize the neighborhood watch. His charm was almost cinematic. He had a story for everything and a joke for every occasion. He was the guy everyone trusted. But beneath the kindness was a man living a lie. Because Leonard had a door in his basement, one not even his closest friends had ever seen opened. The first sign something was off came in 2015, when a local teenage girl, Madison Wells, went missing. Posters went up. Volunteers searched. Leonard helped lead those search efforts. He coordinated food deliveries for the search crews. He handed out flyers with tears in his eyes. Madison was never found. Her disappearance left a deep wound in the community. 2 years later, another disappearance rocked the small town. A 10-year-old boy, Cameron Ellis, vanished from a playground a few blocks from Leonard's home. Once again, Leonard helped organize search parties. He arranged donations for the boy's family. He even cried at the vigil. Police investigated, but there was no solid lead. No one suspected Leonard. Why would they? In 2018, a string of suspicious animal disappearances began, stray cats and dogs vanishing from yards and alleys. Though minor in comparison, it unsettled residents. Leonard helped set up traps and trail cams to find the culprit. Until 2019, when Leonard's long-lost cousin, Derek, came to stay for a weekend. That weekend would blow open a horror no one was prepared for. Derek Harris was curious by nature. He hadn't seen Leonard in years but remembered him as a kind, bookish man. On his second night at the house, Derek went looking for the bathroom in the dark and stumbled upon a locked door in the basement hallway. The door had reinforced hinges, padlocks, and something strange, scratches around the edges. The walls near the door were thicker than normal, insulated, soundproofed, and the lock had fresh scrape marks. The next morning, Derek asked Leonard about it. Leonard shrugged it off. Just a storage room, he said. But Derek's instincts screamed otherwise. When Leonard stepped out for groceries, Derek went to work. He found a hidden set of keys taped beneath the staircase. He opened the door. What he found would haunt him forever. The air was stale. The room was lined with dirty mattresses. Chains and restraints were bolted into the floor. The windows were fake, just wallpaper. Cameras mounted in each corner. There was a smell of bleach, metal, and decay. On a stained desk, Derek found dozens of tapes. VHS, DVDs, even USB drives. Footage of unknown victims. In one horrifying revelation, one of the girls in the footage was identified as Madison Wells. Derek stumbled out of the room and called police. It was more than a secret room. It was a prison, and a monument to a deeply disturbed mind. Forensics teams arrived. The room was a nightmare. There were tools, not household tools, but modified restraints, sharp instruments, and terrifying devices. The tapes were catalogued. Victim IDs were made. Some matched missing person reports. Others were never reported missing. In a false wall, police discovered a crawl space containing bones. Dozens of human remains, partially burned, some with personal items, lockets, shoes, dolls. Leonard Harris was arrested in his driveway while returning from a grocery run. He didn't resist. He simply said, "I knew this day would come." Search warrants uncovered an archive of abuse stretching back over a decade. Leonard had abducted and imprisoned at least 7 victims, 4 of whom were never found. He had been living a double life. By day, the helpful neighbor. By night, a predator feeding his twisted desires. And the most disturbing part, he documented everything. The trial in 2020 was swift. The evidence was overwhelming. Prosecutors presented the tapes, the remains, and survivor testimony. A woman named Elise, once abducted in 2011 and believed dead, testified that she had escaped but never told anyone out of fear. She had blocked the memory until she saw Leonard's face on the news. She described the secret room in horrifying detail. She was kept for 34 days, fed once a day, beaten, filmed. She escaped after Leonard left the door ajar one night. The town was shaken. People who once broke bread with him now questioned their judgment. Church groups held vigils. Local leaders apologized for their blindness. Leonard was found guilty of 7 counts of murder, 10 counts of abduction, and dozens of charges of possession and torture. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Experts later analyzed Leonard's behavior. He was labeled a high-functioning sociopath, with traits of narcissism and antisocial personality disorder. He mimicked empathy. He studied people. He learned how to appear good. He built his life around blending in, around trust, around exploiting kindness as a weapon. This wasn't impulsive. It was methodical. And that secret room, it was the core of who he really was. Leonard had kept journals, thousands of pages. Inside were detailed plans, emotional breakdowns, and horrifying justifications. He saw himself as a collector, not a killer. He believed his victims belonged to him. As police dug deeper, they discovered Leonard had traveled frequently. His journals described trips to nearby states. Cold cases in Washington, Idaho, and Northern California were reopened. Some of the tapes showed victims in settings not matching the basement, meaning Leonard may have operated elsewhere. A storage unit rented under a fake name in Spokane was found, containing more bones. The FBI classified him as a suspected serial killer operating across state lines. The web was much larger than anyone realized. Willow Creek entered a long period of mourning. The neighborhood watch dissolved. Parents became overprotective. Kids were kept indoors. Madison and Cameron's families started foundations in their names, pushing for better missing persons legislation. Mental health services were flooded with survivors, neighbors, even first responders struggling with what they had seen. The house was demolished in 2021. The land remains vacant. The town erected a small memorial at the site. Flowers are placed there every year on the anniversary of the discovery. Leonard Harris sits in a maximum security prison. He rarely speaks. When asked why he did it, he only said, "Because I could." His story has become a case study in criminal psychology courses. Netflix and Hulu offered to buy rights for dramatization. The families declined. Books were written. Podcasts were made. But for those in Willow Creek, no media could ever capture the true horror of what they lived through. Leonard Harris fooled an entire town. He wore kindness like a mask and used compassion as camouflage. His case is a chilling reminder. Sometimes, the greatest evil hides in plain sight. If this story disturbed you, or made you think twice about what we assume of people, we urge you to share it. Let's build awareness. Let's not ignore red flags just because someone smiles. Like, comment, and share this video if you believe in holding predators accountable. Subscribe to True Crime Hub for more stories that expose the hidden darkness behind seemingly ordinary lives. And remember, evil doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes, it waits, silently, right next door. Like this video to support survivor stories. Subscribe to stay informed about chilling and important true crime cases. Comment your thoughts below. Would you have suspected Leonard? Share this story to help others stay aware and cautious.